Roberta Flack is one of our greatest singers, but she sadly will never likely sing again after her tragic diagnosis. She's been diagnosed with ALS, a motor neuron disease that has made it harder for her to perform and even difficult to speak. Join Factsverse to learn about how Roberta Flack will never sing again after her tragic diagnosis. Roberta Cleopatra Flack was born February 10, 1937 in Black Mountain, North Carolina. Her father was a Veterans Administration draftsman, and her mother was a church organist. As a result, Roberta grew up around music and took an interest in singing and playing musical instruments from a young age. She began her singing career at the Lomax African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church as a part of the choir. At the same time, she was perfecting playing the piano, and she knew from age 9 she wanted to pursue a career in music. Yet she was initially interested in teaching it. Her piano skills became so great that at age 15, she was granted a full scholarship to Howard University to study music. While she initially focused on studying the piano, she eventually switched to voice and was an assistant to the university's choir. It was here where she honed her skills and even directed a production of Aida, which received much acclaim. It was clear she had talent. But rather than being a performer, she decided the best route was for her to teach. Upon graduating university, she pursued a career as a music teacher. She spent much of her early professional life helping others achieve their musical dreams. She taught piano on her own and taught music and singing at school. But something inside her was telling her she was destined for greatness. She had a voice teacher named Frederick Wilkerson who suggested she try to focus on pop songs rather than gospel or classical music. Along with her career as a music teacher, she began singing songs at restaurants and nightclubs. It wasn't long until key players in the music industry took notice and Roberta Flack became a household name. Roberta Flack's career. In the 1970s, Roberta was living in Washington, D.C., where she worked as a music and voice teacher by day and was a singer at restaurants and local clubs at night, most notably at Mr. Henry's restaurant on Capitol Hill. At Mr. Henry's, she began to get noticed by some of the top executives in the music industry. They noticed how Roberta's voice was unique. It was upbeat but also hard-hitting. She was soon approached to start recording her own music, and once her songs were released, she never looked back. She would now focus on making her own musical dreams come true rather than helping others make theirs come true. Two of her most popular songs recorded in the 70s are still the songs she's known for today. These were Killing Me Softly and The Closer I Get to You. The first song she sang on her own, and the second was a duet with Donny Hathaway. These songs were two of the biggest during the soul music emergence of the 1970s. This was the decade when we saw the rise of record labels like Motown and Stax. Roberta Flack's songs told the story of women in love, and we got to hear a narrative that wasn't prevalent in American music before. With these two simple songs, she became a star, and one can expect these songs to continue to be sung in decades to come. In 1971, Roberta performed in the Soul to Soul concert movie. This concert also featured other great soul singers, including Ike and Tina Turner. Her song, The First Ever I Saw Your Face, was used in the Clint Eastwood film Play Misty for Me. The film became such a huge hit, and all the songs associated with the film did as well. This film played a huge part in catapulting Roberta Flack's music into the mainstream. Her other big hit came in the 1980s, the song Making Love, which was written by Burt Bacharach. This song, though not as popular as her songs in the 70s, was still a huge hit. She was just as popular in the 80s as she was in the 70s, but it was clear that the unique 70s sound she created was what she'd be most remembered by. In the 1980s, she also became known for singing the theme song for the TV show Valerie, which was later renamed The Hogan Family. The theme song was called Together Through the Years and is remembered as one of the most popular TV theme songs of all time. In the 1980s, she also voiced the mother's role in Michael Jackson's short film Bad. In 1989, she experimented with her style and released a song called Ooh Ooh Look Out Here It Comes. This was written by Ashford and Simpson. It topped the dance charts and showed that Roberta Flack had incredible range as an artist. In 1991, she stunned fans when she performed a duet with Jamaican singer Maxie Priest called Set the Night to Music. This, again, became a huge hit and reached the top 10 in various charts. Later in 1999, she received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and gave a concert in South Africa, of which the final performance was attended by President Nelson Mandela. Throughout the 2000s and 2010s, she recorded many more songs and released more albums. Her most recent song was Running, which was a song played during the closing credits of the documentary film 3100 Run and Become. She was 80 when the song was released. Roberta Flack will never sing again after her tragic diagnosis. Recently, Roberta was diagnosed with ALS, a type of motor neuron disease. Sadly, this has made it much harder for her to even speak, let alone sing. The illness is also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and there is no known cure. Roberta has had a few health problems in recent years, as she suffered a stroke in 2016. But her ALS diagnosis has made life much harder, and she's decided it's best to focus on treatment and her health. Sadly, this means Roberta Flack will never sing again. Just as this illness ended the career of baseball star Lou Gehrig, it has also ended the careers of many other talented athletes and artists alike, and sadly, Roberta Flack is the latest victim. And while we feel sad about her illness, we must also celebrate her achievements. As one looks back on her life, you can't help but think it's been a life well lived. Her career first looked like it would be one that few would remember. Perhaps only a few students would remember how Miss Flack helped them become better musicians and singers. But it was on one fateful night at Mr. Henry's that she was discovered, and the rest is history. She was planning on performing a comeback tour, but these plans stalled due to the COVID pandemic. She was hoping to return to live performances after the pandemic, but alas, her illness has put an end to that. While Roberta Flack may have to unfortunately fade away in the background due to her illness, her light will never stop shining. She's one of the greatest soul singers of all time and will continue to serve as an inspiration for years to come. In modern times, we've seen other artists create renditions of her songs, whether it's the Fugees with their rendition of Killing Me Softly, Luther Vandross and Beyoncé with their cover of The Closer I Get to You, or even Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker's rendition of the song in the film Rush Hour 3, Roberta Flack will never be forgotten and always be appreciated. Now it's time to hear from you. Are you a fan of Roberta Flack's? What do you think about this tragic diagnosis? And what's your favorite song of hers? Let us know in the comments section below.